Hi, this is Joe from Prolific Audio. I'm here going to walk you through our installation video for our 9500 kit for the Jeep JL18 newer. All you need is a number 2 screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a pry tool. So first we're going to do is stop and take the knee bolster off. So take the pry tool, pull straight off towards you. Everything snaps off with 6 clips. Place that somewhere else. Step 2 would be to take off the instrument panel for the HVAC controls. Same thing, I'd start down here in the corner, get your finger behind it. I'm not prying against the dash, I'm just pulling on the part with my pry tool. Okay, about 8 clips holding that on. Just go ahead and disconnect it, get it out of the way. Now we're going to take the radio out, so we got to take 2 screws off the bottom. Put them in your cup holder so you don't lose them. Held in by 4 clips. Now you got 4 screws you gotta take out to get the radio out. Take the D-press clip out. Remove this clip here, you gotta push it in here, right there. And it pries up and you rotate the clip around it, and it comes out. And remove the USB, and the camera cord, okay? Now we're gonna remove this bottom piece here. It's got 1 screw here. Take that out. It's got 4 clips in on both sides. Just hold on it. You don't need to unplug any of this. We can just leave that there like that. You'll see here in a few minutes why that is. And we gotta take the pillar bolster off. So off 4 clips as well. Now we're going to take this off. There's 2 10mm screws under here, so we're going to clip that off. Same with that. It comes out. Also has 1 clip on it there. Now we're going to remove the glove box. Pretty much open the glove box up. Bar over here on the side. Push up. It comes out. And you push up on the dash right here, on here, releases the clip here, and the whole glove box comes out. I'm here to show you how to modify the main unit. To start off, we pretty much have to take this top cover off. There's 3 screws we have to remove. Cover comes off, set to the side. You have 4 screws here we're going to take out on a slower heatsink cover. Set that aside. Drop the okay, next step is to take this front black thing off. Pry tool. Alright, that whole thing slides off. Set that aside, we don't need that anymore. So now there's a bar here for the ribbon cable. You flip that up. Okay, you can pull the ribbon cable out at that point in time. You have this GPS or Bluetooth antenna. I'm not real sure which one it is. Be careful with that. It pries straight up. I recommend using plastic. I'm just going to use my fingernail. Comes up. Okay, we're going to flip it upside down. Take these 2 screws out. Now we're going to flip it on the side. There's 2 of these screws on both sides. Take those out. Slide this whole chassis out. It goes forward. Comes apart like that. Okay, now we're ready to do the modification. Set this to the side. We don't need this at the moment. In the kit, they're going to get a 500mm ribbon cable. Blue side goes up. You're going to insert it fully into the ribbon card carrier. And you're going to, once it's fully seated, you'll see it won't go side to side, and then you're going to flip the bar back down and lock it in. Now you want to make sure this blue line is the same size on both sides. I can see it's a little closer on this side than this side, so I need to redo it and get it right. There we go. Now we got an even line, so now we're good there. So at that point in time, let's go back to this again. We need to take out the Bluetooth antenna. Number 2 screw down the hole. All right, take that out. Step is to take the Bluetooth antenna we just took out. We'll not use the screw anymore, we can get rid of it. And you drill this hole larger so our 1/2 inch screws will fit through it. Okay. Now we're going to take our kit that we get the ribbon cable in. We're going to attach this plastic by these 2 screws here. Bluetooth mic goes on the side of the ribbon cables. All right, now we're ready to put the carrier back on. So we got to get this in there first. So go and snap that down. Okay, and then this goes on top. We're going to use the little black screws that have the coarse threads. 4 of them. Go put those back in. All right, so now put the ribbon cable over the top. I'll line this up here. Oh, sorry, like this. On the 9500 is a screw back here. The 8500 does not have the screw. So now we're just going to have to, we're going to notch this here, get it so it's not pushing the ribbon cable on the back side. So I would mark it with a pen, or if you have something to cut it with, just take your cutters. I know it's right here, so I'm going to give it a little notch. Okay, take a bull nose pliers, or line nose pliers. We're going to bend that bar up. Try to straighten the sheet metal back out again. It'll look something like that. At this point, I'd recommend using some acetate on both the top and the bottom surfaces. And if you want to go around the ribbon cable, it's not a bad idea as well. Make sure you don't cover up that screw hole. All right, now we're ready to put the lid back on. Now we got black screws to put back in. Here, pretty much you're going to take it all apart. We're going to take all these screws out. So that screw and then these 2 here. So now we need to take these 2 black screws out here. And then just cover by flipping the back side up and coming off. Got 2 more black screws, remove those. Green itself. You got to adjust the carrier here, so we're going to slide this carrier all the way to the top. Slide this carrier down 3 positions. So we need to take these 4 screws out and loosen these 3 screws up. So let's slide down and tighten it back up there. Slide it at the top, put these back in. Now we want to take these 2 screws out here. Take a small flathead screwdriver, you're going to slide it onto the side here. Just pop it up very carefully. You will need those 2 screws, so take those out. Set that aside. In your kit, you're going to get 2 pieces of plastic that look like this. To assemble that, we're going to slide the ribbon cable through the hole, to the back side until it sits flat. The indentation goes towards the top, so it'll slide there. Slide it in there, so you get all the way to the top, and then it's in. So now we're going to slide the carrier board on top of here. So it's going to be hard to see maybe, but Put it in there, and feel it lock in like that. Then we're going to put these 2 black screws back in there the same way we took out. All right, within the kit itself, you're going to have 2 side brackets here. One has an R, one has a left on it. One has an R and one has an L. So the idea is if you're looking at the kit like this, where the button's on the right, obviously 9500 has buttons on the top. The right will be on the right side as you're looking at it. So the right will go on this side, and the left will go on this side. I'm going to turn this around, but that's the sides that go on, and we mount them up to it. It'll look like this here. Right, within the kit, there'll be 4 screws like this. We're going to go ahead and install those in them. All right, so now we're going to install the plate. You can see there's a hair cell side and there's a non-hair cell side. The hair cell side is going to go down on this one. Slide it over there like this. Within the kit itself, you're going to get 4 3/4 inch number 6 screws. We're going to go ahead and put these in now. Line up your holes. Do not over tighten them. Get them close, and I recommend hand tighten them the rest of the way. All right, that's all we do with this. This is the bracket from under the driver's side dash underneath the steering column. The power inverter for the rear outlet and the back of the center console gets mounted here with these 3 bolts. We're not going to use them, so you unbolt them. Get rid of that module there. You can mount it later in the car. I'll show you how. The heating seat module clips on the bottom of this bracket here. You can unclip it and get it out of the bottom of the car, but this is the bare bracket. You have to take the nuts, inserts off of these. They slide off. You're going to take your 9500 brain kit that we're going to send you in the box, flip it upside down. And take this, we're going to flip it so it's flat like that. But the 2 holes are towards this side of the bracket, towards the bend here. So line them up here. You're going to include 3 of these in the kit and some screws. Put them in here. These will hold the bracket in place while you screw it down. Line your holes up. And screw all 3 down tight. When you're ready to mount it, put the ribbon cable over the bar. It's a tight fit, so you put the front up first. Go high, and you kick the back of the unit out over the cross member. This tab here is going to go behind the metal cross member, so make sure you get it over it. And you have to, it's a tight fit, so you have to move it around. And it'll fall down to position there. Up the heated seat module. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. But if you have it, it goes in the bottom of the metal bracket. These fingers go in the metal holes first, and the other side goes up and hooks in. If you want to retain this, you don't have to. You can unplug it and not use it. All it's going to happen is your 110 out when the back of the center console doesn't work. You can also, if you look on the top of the accelerator pedal, it's going to be hard to show you in the video. There's a hole, and this hole lines up with. We recommend putting a zip tie through it, or you can even screw in that cross member with a screw here, and it mounts up here like that. So out of sight, and you can still retain it that way if you'd like. All right, now we're going to install our control module, which goes up under the steering column. First, we want to route a ribbon cable over the bar. Be gentle with ribbon cable. It's not very fragile, but we don't want to rip it. It goes straight up. This will eventually be over the heater controls in the back. You won't be able to see it in this video here, but go up. Take it back over. And come back down. There's 2 threaded inserts in the metal from the factory. We're going to put our screws in, included with the kit. Just that side. There's that side. Stub the screwdriver. Snug it down. Now we're going to mount a ribbon cable. So we want to make sure we don't get this all twisted as we run the cable. So try to run it as flatly as possible so we won't get any kinks in the cable. First step would be get it up in here. Bring it through the push to start hole. slowly pull it through, make sure it doesn't cut anything. Okay, now we're gonna try to get it up behind this piece of plastic here, in between the metal. It's gonna take a couple tries to get it there, but since I have light on the camera, it's gonna probably be easier for me. I recommend pointing the camera down there for you as well. The light down there, and then slowly pull that up. For the time being, we're gonna put this on top of the dash, it'll stay. Okay. All right, now we're gonna install the wiring harness. This is a Prolific Audio harness. It's all pre-made, everything's soldered, ready to go. It's all plug and play, no wiring has to be done on your part. To run the harness, I'm gonna locate this band of Tessa tape right here. We're gonna squish it a little bit. We're gonna put it in this crack. It looks like it's much tighter than it looks, but once it gets in there, it slides in there just fine. Okay. So now we're gonna run, you notice this plug here as well. This also gets run up through that same little gap, okay? For the time being, just get that out of the way. So now we have all these plugs here. We're gonna take our module here. It's also included in the kit. These will be bundled up in your cords. One will be an aux jack. The other one's going to be a 4-pin plug. 4-pin plug to 4-pin plug. The aux jack has aux on one side and a 3-pin plug on the other. You're gonna plug in the bottom of the module like this. Now we're gonna plug in the rest of these harnesses into this module. Green plug goes to green plug. 3-pin black plug goes to 3-pin black plug. This large black plug goes there, and the small black plug goes there. So now we're like this. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna take these two wires. We're gonna go through this hole here. I don't know if you can see it, just gotta make sure you see it. We're gonna go through here and then out up this hole here. So those two wires are ran through there. Okay, so that's that. We have to route this one from up here to down there. Easiest way to do it is pretty much going through the same holes that we just did. And up here for the time being, we are not plugging this in until the very last step, so make sure you don't plug this in yet. There. Do not need to go under and back up. This time you can just come straight over this step here. So now we need to run all three of these through the hole here. So sometimes it's easiest to get one going. Got wires out. Now we need to run this one, same thing. Be careful of the ribbon cable. We're not trying to rip the ribbon cable out of the dash. Same thing with this one. And now our main radio harness goes through the same hole. So now down here we have both data cables, our main radio harness, and our antenna wire. We're going to now mount this harness and get this dash in place. So this is what plugs in the back of the HVAC controls. Make sure that's out and not tucked down in there. This module here will sit in the dash. Right back here. Make sure these are above, and then this will snap back in. Tight fit, but it does fit. Goes like that. Now you're gonna put your screw back in. Don't forget about that one. It's a number 2 screw. Okay. Now we gotta run this cable up, down as well. So the two plugs go down. The one plug stays up. So we're gonna run that down. Down too. All right, so now we're ready to hook up the control module. Everything's down here. We have our GPS antenna. We have our microphone cord that goes up there to the top of the A-pillar. This is our rear camera cord. So now we're gonna start plugging things into the radio itself. We have our radio harness here. We have our 2 control harness from behind the cigarette lighter, the module we mounted earlier, and then our USB. We're not going to go over where we're going to mount the USB. You can pretty much put it wherever you want. We generally put it on the passenger side of the center console, but you can run it, like I said, anywhere you want, so we're not going to go over that. So we're going to start plugging things in. We got our antenna wire. Goes in the bottom left-hand corner. Seated. All right, the next thing over is your microphone, which is in a red port. Now we have our data module plug, which is our aux jacks, goes in that black port. Now we have the backup camera, white harness, goes in that lower port. This is our GPS antenna. We're not going to use the blue port at all. Plugs in. Now we have a 4-pin data port. Try to keep your wires going the same direction so you don't have a mess when you try to bundle them up. That goes into that port. All right, that's our main harness. Goes in the bottom port. And then if you do have a satellite radio module that you're retaining, the satellite radio goes into the right side, right just to the right of the module there, and that's where your satellite radio goes in. And then we're gonna plug in the USB. And that goes into there. All right, so let's bundle this up, make it look nice. We have our CAN wire, which is here. I've already got one pre-unloaded because they're kind of hard to get out. Pull one of them out, you'll see there's a little depressed clip here. You gotta push in with a flathead screwdriver. Plug one end into here, the other end back into the block. All right, and make sure these wires are out of the glove box's way. Just make sure they're behind this bar here. You should be fine. All right, now we gotta get the radio plugged up so we can now attach the harness. Clicks in. This harness from below goes into this 2-pin plug here. So this may be connected when you get it, unplug them too, and plug the new harness from the CAN connections down low into there. And then that's all the wiring we have to do with the radio itself. All right, so now we're gonna take our fascia mounting hardware. Just get this out of the way. It's gonna be centralized in the back like this. Try to move as much of the cords out of your way as possible. We're just gonna dry fit it here, so it's gonna sit right here. So now we need to clean these bars off with alcohol. It's very important. Get a good bead. Okay. Now we're gonna peel the tape. So you want to make sure to get this centered on there the first go, so once it sticks, it sticks. There's a little bit of clearance, so you can kind of play with it till you get it in the middle. And once it feels right, you'll feel like it won't go back and forth anymore. At that point, just push in on the 4 points, and it'll stick to the dash itself. Once it's stuck to the dash, you see it's pretty firm there. We now gotta get rid of this bar. It's just a shipping bar, so it doesn't break during shipping. So let's cut that out of the way. All right. All right. All right, so now we're ready to mount the control module into the dash, the 9500. So we need to make sure we have this harness located between these two vents, back close to the wall as possible, or the radio will hit it and won't let the radio go in and slide up in position like we need it to. Make sure these harnesses are laying flat, everything's out of the way as much as possible. We gotta now connect the ribbon cables. This is your ribbon connector. So they're gonna come to you like that. In order to use them, you have to flip these bars up, so they're 90 degrees up in the air. Put the ribbon cable in, you have to make sure the blue side is up. That is the side that goes on top. Sure, you'll know when you have it in there because it'll feel snug. And then lock them down like that. So down on this one here. Be good to have a friend help you if you can. Try not to have it all curled up on you. So once again, blue is up. Just make sure it's all the way seated in there and flat. And then push the bar down. Now it's ready to go. So now install the radio. Try to keep the rim cable from getting bonded up. So try to keep it under the radio. Let's just have it go down. On the back side, you'll see there's a tooth here. There's a hole in the dash this tooth is going to slide into. That's what's going to lock it into the dash. So we're going to hold it down. Start low. We're going to find that hole. Sliding it back and forth. There it is. And now we're going to slide it up into position. At this point, you'll see these two holes down here. They line up. And now place screws into there. Now the screen is mounted. So now we're ready to put the front fascia back on. Take your lower piece from the kit, slides on here. Look on the back side, the plastic webs and the injection molding slides forward and onto there. Just push it until it stops. Pull your HVAC controls in. Put your lower push start button in. Slides in. Snap it back in place. All right, so now you're fully installed. Now we can power it up, do the initialization of it.